Yeah, we are very money motivated. And
Mhm.
that and I'm not afraid to say that because my Bible says that money is the answer to all things.
Hey, welcome to the show today. I have the distinct honor and privilege of having as a guest today the Mr. and Mrs. 757 Realtors, Rico and Courtney Gonzales from the Virginia Beach, Virginia area, who are just crushing it in real estate. And I'm excited about learning today how they got in this crazy business and how do you make it successful as a husband and wife team. So welcome to the show, gang.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you know how we do this. Let's kind of start at the beginning. Tell us a little about your background, how you got involved in real estate, and tell us the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I started first. Rico and I started a family when we were fairly young and dumb. So like we just went straight to work. So we've had this work ethic and this grit since the gate. And we were considering selling our home at one point. We had lived there for 11 years. It was our first home. And I was really intrigued and turned on by like the whole idea of doing real estate and maybe making a career out of it. So we're like, okay, I'm gonna get my license. We're gonna sell the house for sale by owner. We'll buy our new place and we'll be like our first deal will be our own, right? So we don't have to mess somebody else's deal up.
We did everything backwards and wrong. We learned from it.
Well, yeah, so we weighed out the pros and cons to do for sale by owner to do it with somebody who actually knows what they're doing. And there was way more cons to doing it on our own. So I just felt a check in my spirit. I was like, this is for us to do, and we're going to do it no matter what the cons list looks like. So I never hung my license, never activated it, but we sold our house for sale by owner. And in that process, I learned so much. I was like, not only can I do this
Yeah.
and be successful, but I can rock this
You can
because
do it better for sure.
these agents are terrible.
Oh,
The way they talked to you, the way they performed, and it was just, but then there was a few gems in there. And I was like, okay, I like how handles herself. I like how she does business, whatever, whatever. And then it went from there. And that kind of like catapulted the desire to run after this like crazy.
yeah. So Courtney used to work in insurance and everything, and I was working as a manager at a window tinting company out here in Virginia Beach. And Courtney came up to me one day after we had sold the house and we're living in a new house, Paul. And she's like, I want to do real estate and quit my job. I'm like, all right, go ahead. Right. So,
Which meant goodbye steady income,
Yeah.
goodbye overtime options, goodbye health insurance. And we have a family. So
right.
I was the insurance carrier, but he believed I could do it.
Yeah,
So
she could do it. No doubt she could do it. And she got it done. So I saw these checks coming in. I was like, oh man, what if I quit my job? Maybe about a year later.
yeah, I was making way more money than you.
Yeah. Man, supposed to be like,
What's up, Rico?
Yeah. So I quit my job. Got my license in 2018. You were 2017?
I hung it in 2017.
So I did the whole school thing, got my license in 2018. September was my date, right? So I'm doing part-time stuff, riding around with Courtney when I can. And I remember, Paul, she was like, I thought that Courtney, all she did was just like stay at home and look at houses all day. When I started running with her and she's showing me the ropes, I had to apologize to her. Like, I'm so sorry. You do so much work. Yeah. So September 2018 is when I quit my job and we went full force in. So this has been our only income for the past 5 years, right?
Right.
18, 19, 20, 22. Yeah, 5 years. And that's kind of how we got started in this thing.
Wow. I got to unpack some of that. That is super cool. So, I mean, just a couple things come to mind, which is just amazing. And not everybody has this, unfortunately, but you guys do. And that's why you're so successful. But the fact that, Rico, you were willing to stand behind Courtney when she left her job, because I know it's a big leap. I mean, you don't just walk out and, they start paying you all this money. There's ramp up time, right? There's expense. So not only you're giving up income, you're investing more money, right? In marketing and time. And burning gas and all that stuff and the health insurance, all that. But the fact that you said, okay, I'm behind you, I know you can do it, and you supported her is amazing. And I mean, that's, you know, if everybody operated like that, it would be a lot better off, you know, today where we
I agree.
are. But,
I totally agree.
but I mean, that's it. You know, when I started my first business, my wife was the same way. She's like, okay, I'm going to be behind you. And of course, we were so much younger. We didn't have all the obligations that you did. So that made it even more, I mean, really a leap of faith. But you obviously know, you know, your wife, and you knew she would succeed, and obviously she did. And then she pulled you in, and she's probably still doing more sales than you, right? We're not going to go there.
Spends all the money. She spends all the money, though.
I spend all the money. Yeah, okay.
I'm a hoarder. He's a spender.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. No, that's awesome. So, but then you flip the script. So then a year later, then Courtney is like, hey, Rico, you can do this thing too. Come on out here. And then, but the point you made was interesting, Rico, about, you know, and I think a lot of people, when they go into business for themselves or they go into real estate, I think a lot, maybe more than just business for yourself, because it's so, I don't know, all the TV shows and everything, you think, okay, I'm going to go get this license. And then all of a sudden I'm going to, you know, I'm going to be living in, you know, my $1 million dream home on the water. And
Yeah.
But you learned that, hey, there's a whole lot more to this. And then you guys dug in. So, when you figured that out, Rico, I mean, what was you obviously were apologizing to Courtney, but I mean, you obviously bucked up for the job, though. You're like, all right, I'm going to dig in here and make this happen.
Yeah.
We've never been afraid of some sweat equity. We've never been afraid to work hard. And Rico, when we first got married, he was working in the airlines as a aviation mechanic.
Oh, man,
and it was right by 9/11, and
gosh.
everyone was laying off.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had a little kid at the time, and, you know, he went and picked up random jobs. I mean, he was digging ditches for a plumber.
I was a plumber for a bit.
He was doing
I got the scar right here.
telemarketing.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, we have the grit, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to work.
Yeah, whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a successful entrepreneur. You got to have that attitude, right? Whatever it takes, you just do what you got to do. Digging ditches, and you just, hey, okay. So you're airline mechanic, which is a high level, highly trained job.
Hey, what's going on? I hope you like what you're listening to. Can you do me a favor? If we're providing value for you, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, or follow in whatever platform that you're listening or hearing this on, and we'll create more content for you. Back to the regular scheduled program.
And then, you know, who planned on 9/11, right? And then you just deal with it, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So, all right. So you guys started back in 2017, 2018, and you've built this business. So you've seen a lot, and then how do you work together effectively as a husband and wife in this business?
Well, I would say, like, our superpower is the Holy Ghost. We are big Jesus fans. Jesus is like the center of our life. And that's why when I say I want to quit my job and do something, he knows I'm not flippantly saying that. And it's something we come together and come to pray about. I feel like you have to, as whether you're in business or just in life, building a family, whatever, you really have to come into agreement with your spouse. There has to be an agreement there. And so it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm at Rico's computer right now. We're looking at you on the screen, but right next to me is my desk. So we sit together like side by side. I got my computer, he's got his, and anyways, we work side by side.
Dogs barking in the back.
Every day. We have like a legit schedule, a time blocked schedule for the day. Get up, we go to the gym together, sometimes, mostly him. We come home, we get in the Word for a little bit, and then we hop on our computers, we get emails, you know, whatever. We're cold calling, we're revisiting clients, what have you. We're going to see clients. So anyways, it's just, we do have a life together, but it's really, I don't know if that helped answer the question, but that's how we do it together.
Yeah, that's our secret superpower, Paul. Jesus, God, our faith in God. That's our secret power right there.
Well, I think that's amazing. And you know, I talk about this a lot, that the the successful entrepreneur is someone who, whether they know God or Jesus, lives by faith. It may be a worldly faith, because you're not, when you had your job in insurance, you're going to get a paycheck every couple of weeks, regardless, right? As long as you had the job.
Right.
Yeah, there's no faith, but when you're involved, you're self-employed, and is commission only, as every self-employed person is, you're really dependent on that next customer or whatnot, and it's a faith thing, and you have very high highs sometimes, and sometimes very low lows, right? Challenges.
Yeah.
But I think for those that have a higher faith, as I do with you, with God and Jesus, and that I think it makes it even easier, because it you don't have to carry quite the burden, right? When you're
right.
or the
So
worries.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that gave you the courage to go out, and obviously you're being blessed as a result of it. And it's kind of cool to see how you guys have a very integrated life. It sounds like that you're working together, you're playing together, you're doing all these things. And because I know the real estate is work, but you seem like you're having fun at this together still after 5 or 6 years,
we
right?
are. And that's like the thing is, like, when things do get stressful, when things do get tumultuous, or I probably didn't say that right, but we have each other to kind of like bounce things off of. I mean, I was on a conversation with a agent yesterday, and she was just talking to me some kind of way, and I was like getting upset, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be getting upset. And Rico's like, I just had to hang up the phone and tell her I had to go. But anyways, Rico's like keeping me in check. Like, Court, you can't
being mean, man. I was like, baby, calm down. Calm down.
She stirred me up a little bit. But anyway, we have each other to bounce, to keep each other sane.
We got married so that we can be together, be together. We didn't get married for us to have separate jobs and see other people and live a different life in our job. It was like a second home when we had our jobs. Now we in business with each other. We can spend most of our time with each other. It's fun. This is how marriage is supposed to be, in my opinion. Having fun with your wife, and let's make some money too.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, if you dial like even our country back to, pre-industrial revolution, we were more of an agrarian-based world, and you had a family that had their own little piece of land, or maybe a big piece of land, and they, if they were fortunate enough to do that, but then you had a blacksmith, you had a farmer, everyone kind of, it was a family, and that's why they had. My wife is a family of like 7 kids, and her mom had like I think from a family of 12.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like we're gonna raise our own help, right? We're gonna this family is a business, right? So it's kind of cool you're doing that today in 2023 in modern times.
In modern times. Thanks,
right. So, well, I mean, how do you guys define success then in your world?
Well, I would say how many people are better off because you lived.
Oh.
That is, to me, the ultimate success. Yeah. How about you, babe?
Having control of your time and money. But I totally 100% agree with Court on that. How many people are better off because you lived?
Right. Because what we do here on earth is just, it's temporary. But what you leave when you go is, can go on and on and on for your children and your children's children and so forth.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So the legacy you leave for them of good values, work ethic, grit, character.
Yes.
And they certainly wouldn't mind if you left them a little money at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
You got that right.
Because the reality is it takes money, right? And here's the thing, and this is another thing I like to point out, is that we live in a world today that it takes money for everything, right? And so we talk about we want to help the poor, we want to feed people, we want to, you look at like, the earthquake that just happened, overseas, and all the different things that happened. I think this past summer, the big hurricane that hit down in Florida. You want to be able to help, and to help, it takes basically 2 things, right? It takes time and money.
Yes,
and if you're and so if you're busy, working the job or whatever, you have no time to help. And but if you have some wealth and some money, then you can give and help. And I remember it was a few years ago. There was an event. The Red Cross was you know, they had commercials and they're like, okay, don't send any more blankets or whatever. All we need is money. You know, we'll figure out where, you know, what the people need and everything. But to be able to have it, and success allows you to do that, right? And
Yeah,
there's good people for it.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are very money motivated. And
Mhm.
that, and I'm not afraid to say that because my Bible says that money is the answer to all things.
Mhm.
Like you were kind of explaining, we don't need your blankets, we need your money, folk. You know, it's
Right.
like it really does. It's a tool. Money is a tool. And if it's, you know, if it can contaminate your heart, then you're in trouble. But if it's, you know, what helps you to build and assist and aid and, you know, move forward, then God bless.
Mhm. Mhm.
Good stuff,
Well,
man.
yeah, exactly. And good people do good things with money, and bad people do bad things with money. And you know, it's all
Correct.
about it's a heart condition, right? It's not a
Yes.
money
Yeah.
condition.